Carr. Take a listen to what he said at his introductory press conference.
Me playing in Green Bay, great situation. Having, greatest quarterback to play the game, that's a dream in itself. So I'll never take anything away from, anything Green Bay gave me or, Aaron gave me. It was an amazing opportunity to work over there and do what I did for almost a decade. But, things change sometimes. It's not the first time that a impactful player to an organization had to leave. I feel like it worked out for both sides ultimately.
A win-win for everybody. What do you think? Was it a mistake, Russo, for Davante to leave the Packers?
Absolutely. If you're Davante Adams, you leave Aaron Rodgers. Ask Mike Holmgren when he left Favre to go to Seattle how that worked out. Why would you leave this quarterback? This quarterback is so much better than Derek Carr. I mean, Carr's okay, but did anybody see Derek Carr against Cincinnati in the postseason where he spiked the ball and cost himself a down on the last series of the game when they were trying to tie it? One of the dumbest plays I've ever seen a quarterback make. And then on fourth down, didn't even throw the ball in the end zone on the incomplete pass, which the Raiders trying to tie the game. When you have that kind of quarterback at your disposal, and he would have him for the next 3 years, and you're also playing in that great city for football compared to Las Vegas, which doesn't compare, you don't leave him. Assuming the money was comparable, you don't leave him. You don't go, why? Because you played at Fresno State for a couple of years with Derek Carr? I am shocked. I would never. If that's me and I have that quarterback throwing me the football, one of the all-time greats, we all know that. He's not an immortal, but one of the all-time greats. I'm not leaving to go play with Derek Carr, who is not going to the Hall of Fame, who is probably the fourth best quarterback in that division. I'm not making that decision under any circumstances. I was shocked.
Yeah.
Shocked when he went to Vegas. Shocked.
Stevie?
Well, listen, I hear where you're coming from. I hear where you're coming from because Aaron Rodgers is a bad man. We all know that. The bottom line is this stuff that went on that Davante Adams ain't speaking about, because I don't think you walk away from Aaron Rodgers either, because I think that Aaron Rodgers is the greatest talent that I've ever seen at the quarterback position. That's my position, the greatest talent, even though he doesn't have the resume of a Tom Brady. Having said all of that, I think that you're throwing shade on the Las Vegas Raiders a bit unnecessarily, doggy. The reality of the situation is that Derek Carr is a damn good quarterback. He may not be Aaron Rodgers. He may not be great, but he's pretty damn good. He threw for 4,800 plus yards last year, 23 touchdowns, 14 interceptions is nothing to brag about, for 4,800 yards last year. The brother got Darren Waller there, so you got Waller there already, and on top of it all, now you got Davante Adams, which is the number one receiver, and I think that they picked up another receiver as well yesterday. I look at the Oakland Raiders with Jacobs out of the backfield, with a relatively decent offensive line, with Josh McDaniels as your new head coach, with the weapons that he has, and I think that you're going to see an even better version of Derek Carr, who was already pretty damn good. So what I would say to you is that I get where you're coming from if you're just comparing Derek Carr to Aaron Rodgers, but that's not what we're looking at here. I'm comparing the Las Vegas Raiders to the Green Bay Packers. And when you look at how often Aaron Rodgers targeted Davante Adams might have looked around. You don't know what situation is involving Aaron Rodgers. 1 minute you stay in, 1 minute you go in, and then all of a sudden you sign for $150 million guaranteed after all of the song and dance about being disrespected by the organization. You got Lazard, Valdez, Scantling there as well. Of course, you got running backs out of the backfield and Dillon and Aaron Jones. But in the end, you had about 3 shots at the apple. You've lost the NFC Championship game the last 2 years. Okay, I want to try something new. It's with a quarterback that I'm incredibly familiar with, who can make all the necessary throws, who's never had a weapon like me to throw the ball to. I got a big-time tight end, one of the top 2 or 3 tight ends in all of football, in Waller as well. And I got a new coach in Josh McDaniels, who's got Super Bowl championship pedigrees in this background. I'm sorry. I don't think it's a bad move by Davante Adams at all, and I don't think you're looking at the big picture, to be quite honest with you.
Well, again, you saw it. I saw it. Those 2 drives that Carr led in Cincinnati, that's not the 85 Bear defense, in Cincinnati, 2 drives in the fourth quarter, Carr put up 3 points. And in the last drive, this is a guy, after they got a first down at the 5-yard line with time running out and no timeouts, he downed the ball, he spiked it and cost himself a down. That was Rodgers wouldn't have done that. Rodgers would have done some other things, but he wouldn't have done that. And then he threw it on fourth down.
What do you mean he would have done some other
in the
things?
end zone. So even if he completed the pass, which he didn't, it was intercepted, they still would have lost. He's not as good. Why, Stephen? When you have Rodgers there, who is a top 10 quarterback probably in history, Carr's not going to the Hall of Fame. Why would, and he's a receiver. You know these receivers, they're divas. They want the ball thrown to them constantly. They want a lot of yards, and they want all the touchdowns. Why would you leave Rodgers to go play for a quarterback who's not half as good? Why would you do that?
Well, let me count the ways. Are you going to let me answer? Are you going to let me answer? I'm going to answer the question for you. You asked it. You asked the question, right?
Yep.
Well, here's the answer. Number one, there's Lambeau Field in Green Bay, Wisconsin, and there's Las Vegas. That's number one, okay? Number two, you threw the ball to me all the time. Over the last 3 of the last 4 years, I had a minimum of 111 receptions and a minimum of 1,300 yards 3 of the last 4 years. That didn't bring me a Super Bowl. Number three, you talked about what Aaron Rodgers done. Let's talk about what he hasn't done. Those first 3 downs before Matt LaFleur takes the ball out of his hands on a 4th down, where Brady only needed a couple of first downs in order to win the NFC Championship game. But the first 3 downs, Aaron Rodgers didn't get it done, including scampering for a first down at the very least, or even a touchdown because he had a wide open field to run. He missed that. Then this past year, you're going up against Jimmy Garoppolo, Jimmy G to some, porn star Jimmy to me, and what happens? You go against him, and you can't score more than 10 points on your own damn field at Lambeau Field in inclement weather when you had a bye week, so you were well rested, and San Francisco had to go up against them sorry Dallas Cowboys the week before. And so all of that stuff comes into play. Now I got to also compare, all right, the tight end spot, somebody to catch the ball between the numbers, okay? That's Waller. You didn't have that in Green Bay. Yeah, Tunyon, I understand he got hurt, and he's pretty good, but he ain't Waller. I know Matt LaFleur has won 13 games each of his first 3 seasons in Green Bay. He ain't no Josh McDaniels. We all know that. Okay? Because Josh McDaniels, as an offensive coordinator, not a head coach, because I know he didn't get the job done in Denver, but as an offensive coordinator, the man did a hell of a job, not to mention the fact he learned from the very best. And so this is his second bite at the apple. If I'm Davante Adams, I got a whole bunch of stuff to look at and say, hey, this is a better situation than what I had in Green Bay.
Surprising coming from the guy who coined the phrase bad man. But I want to focus on Aaron Rodgers. So Davante Adams.
He's a bad man.
Yeah, but I'm just surprised you're thinking it's a good decision to live the way this argument went. All right, Davante Adams led the NFL in receptions, receiving TDs, and receiving yards last season. So tell me this, Mad Dog. What does this mean for Aaron Rodgers now not having Davante Adams?
Well, here's the thing. If Rodgers is this great, he should be able to figure out a way to get these other receivers involved and still be a very effective quarterback. Let's not forget last year's Thursday night game in Arizona when Adams couldn't play and they beat the Cardinals. And he used the rest of his arsenal, and they won the game. That's when Murray threw the interception at the end when he was trying to throw the ball to A.J. Green. So if Rodgers is this great, and Stevie and I are on the same page on Rodgers, you know, he's got to get to this next level.
Yeah.
They have draft picks. They got other receivers. Everybody saw the highlight when Lazard was wide open on 3rd and 11 in the cold in Green Bay against San Francisco, and he forced the ball to Adams, the incomplete pass, and then the Niners came down and kicked the field goal. If he threw the ball to Lazard, the Packers would have won the game. And Lazard was wide open at midfield. So this gives Rodgers a chance to spread the ball around a little bit, have a little more confidence in the younger receivers, don't have that bad body language, which sometimes he does. He gets frustrated and he walks off the field with his shoulders sagged and all.
Yeah.
Let's go out there now and let's get everybody else incorporated with your team. Let's show some confidence with them. Let's go back to them and throw the ball to them and have a couple of drop passes. They have the Raider top pick, so they have the 22nd pick. I think it's the 22nd pick. They can maybe draft a receiver. If Rodgers is worth $50 million, he'll make do with what. Hey, listen, Brady got the Super Bowls with lousy receivers for a long time. If Rodgers is this good in an awful division, in a bad conference, he'll figure something out with the other receivers he has to work with.
Stephen A., what do you think?
Well, I think his legacy is on the line because some of the changes that have been made are because of him. The reality of the situation is that the National Football League has a hard salary cap. Now, it's not the players' fault. The owners, being the cheap misers that they are, have a hard salary cap, and they leave it for the players to fight amongst themselves as to the pot that is available to them. But nevertheless, knowing that those rules were in place, Aaron Rodgers did what almost anybody would do. He took as much as the bag as he could possibly get. But with that comes a responsibility to get the job done. Now, it's not just on his shoulders. I'm sick and tired of Matt LaFleur being raved about, for crying out loud.
You're right.
If Aaron Rodgers wasn't your quarterback, what would you do? What would you be? Because we've seen 2 years ago him take the ball out of Aaron Rodgers' hands and on fourth down, showing no guts whatsoever and being a prisoner and a hostage to the analytics, which made no sense at that particular moment, because if you're using the eyeball test, you leave the ball in Aaron Rodgers' hands. He's your franchise player. He's the face of your franchise. You say to him, okay, this is what we pay you for. Get the damn job done, period. And Matt LaFleur took the ball out of his hands and prevented him from doing that. And then this year, the special teams didn't just fail to show up against San Francisco. They were horrid all year. How the hell do you have 17 weeks? This is your job. Matt LaFleur doesn't have to run for any first downs or touchdowns. He doesn't have to catch any touchdown passes. He doesn't have to block for anybody. He doesn't have to sack anybody. He doesn't have to intercept the football. Your job is to damn coach. And somehow, some way, Matt LaFleur allowed the entire season to go on where he never, ever fixed the special teams. Week to week to week, they were consistently considered one of, if not the worst special teams in football. Matt LaFleur did nothing about it, and as an end result, it came back to bite them. And somehow, some way, we turn around. This coordinator's gone. This coach is gone. This coach is gone. But Matt LaFleur still stays, okay? This man, as far as I'm concerned, is living off the greatness of Aaron Rodgers, which is why he did everything but get on his knees and pray to the skies in front of the masses that Aaron Rodgers stay in in Green Bay. That is what happened with Matt LaFleur. Then you go and under your watch, you draft Jordan Love instead of drafting some additional weapons to help buffer the team. Might go down as one of the worst picks ever because you just signed Aaron Rodgers. So not only has Jordan Love been sitting on the bench for 3 years, he's going to be sitting on the bench at least another 3 years. Well, go figure that out. So all of this stuff, it's not just about Aaron Rodgers. It's about Coach LaFleur too. But in the end, it's about Aaron Rodgers. You're the one that got the bag. You took the money. You got to show up and find a way to get it done. Or we're going to remember that you did it.
Steve's right, 100%. Can you imagine Belichick with his little milk and cookies on Nantucket watching that game with the Packers with their special teams, blocked field goals, blocked punts, kickoffs back to the 50-yard line?
His dog.
His dog, you know, he's funny with the dog. Or Lombardi from upstairs.
Yeah.
Can you imagine him watching that game and said, hold on now, we lost a playoff game in our building in bad weather against a warm weather team because of special teams? What? Belichick must have laughed all the way to the next morning to get his Boston Globe, for crying out loud. And he is 100% right at Memphis. LaFleur's performance last year in the postseason was awful.
Yeah.
He's right.
Horrible.
Horrible.
Awful. Horrible. One last point.
Yeah.
It was so awful, Elvis could have defended.
Oh, my God.
Wait, I have a question. Is Elvis an immortal?
Oh,
Yeah.
is he an immortal?
Elvis an immortal? I just want to know by your definition.
Thank you. Yes,
Okay. Is Stevie an immortal yet, or he's still working on it?
Well, on Wednesdays, since he's
I'm not trying to be an
on the
immortal.
show, he is an all-time great.
Oh, okay. You're an all-time great.
No, that doesn't mean I always agree with him.
Yeah.
But he's an all-time great.
Yeah.
Somehow they're
So
paying him a fortune
he has
to do
levels
this.
to still go to be an immortal status.
He got to do more than 8, 9 years.